Let's check in on my baby. Here it is. It's training.
Teaching an AI probably feels a lot like teaching a toddler. Every time it makes improvements, you feel super proud.
Let's just keep it alone. It will keep trying.
At the beginning, the AI is just super stupid and just tries a bunch of random moves. But the more it plays against itself, the better it gets. In this day and age, understanding the basics of machine learning can be pretty damn useful. So in this video I want to share what I've learned so far and answer some basic questions like how the hell does all of this work and could you use it for your own projects? This is how the entire project started out a couple of months ago. The ultimate goal, creating an AI that plays this game better than me. The game itself is quite simple. You have to push the other player off the platform and you can move to the left, to the right, down, and you can also boost yourself upwards, but that consumes this bar over your head, which refills itself automatically over time. So there's quite a bit of strategy and resource management involved. If you waste your energy too much, you will probably lose in the late game. Now the main question is, how do you even write a program that is able to learn? I'm not gonna go too much into details here, but I want you to understand how it works. This is how a classical neural network looks like. Every orange circle represents a neuron, and every neuron has an activation value between 0 and 1. The first layer right here is the input layer, that's where we input our data. So for this project that would be the position of the ball, the position of the enemy ball, the velocity of the ball, the energy you currently have, all that sort of stuff. Every purple line represents a connection between neurons. Every connection has a multiplier value, which can be both positive as well as negative. There's no limit for that one. So let's say this connection has a multiplier of 0.5. That means this neuron will have an activation value of 0.5 because there's nothing else coming in here. So every neuron pretty much just adds up the incoming numbers, makes sure that result stays between 0 and 1, and that data gets passed onwards through the next connections. At the other end of the network are the output neurons. Those represent the actions the AI can take. For example, the buttons it can press, and then you just say an activation value of larger than 0.5 means the button is pressed. Anything smaller than that means the button is not pressed. I hope you can tell that this can make for some quite complicated behaviors. And the entire behavior of the AI depends only on one thing, the connections. Or more precisely, the multiplier values of those connections. So what this really is an optimization problem. We have hundreds, maybe even thousands of connections, and we need to find the very best multiplier values for all of them. Now for this project I chose a slightly different architecture, but the same concepts still apply. Each neuron is connected to every neuron before that. Here are our input neurons, and then here at the end are our output neurons. Does that structure look familiar somehow? Oh yes, you guessed it. The structure on the wall right here shows what's going on in the AI right now. That's the input neurons right here, normal neurons in between, and output neurons. With their size, they are showing, guess what? Their current activation values, of course. What you can't see here are the connections between the neurons, but oh, believe me, they are there. So main problem once again, how the hell do we find the best values for all of those connections? There are a lot of different strategies for this out there. Simulated annealing, gradient descent, particle swarms, but they all sound kind of complicated, probably because they are. So I decided to go for the easiest one, which is trial and error. Or if you want to put it a little more elaborately, an evolutionary algorithm. That means we just make random adjustments to our connections, and if our new configuration works better than the last one, we keep it. Now, how do we find out if our new configuration is better than the old one? Easy solution. Let's make them play against each other. So this is how our training process looks like when we get started. I think all of the connections are at 0, that's why there's nothing going on in the brain of the AI. At the top here you can see who's playing at the moment. The mutation is always the one we made some random adjustments to. As you can see, the mutation won here, so now it needs to play the rematch on the other side. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not gonna win this one, so we don't even have a superior strategy to doing nothing here. That means the program will now create a different mutation and just keep doing that until it manages to win on both sides. By the way, the bar in the middle here always shows what's going on in the right-hand AI. At the moment it's showing nothing because on the right-hand side is our empty version 0, just so you don't get confused about this. And I think by now you can already tell that this will take a while. Luckily there's no need for this training to take place in real time, so I can run the simulation at 100 times the speed. Running it even faster would obviously be even better, but the performance of my PC kinda caps it out there. Here we are already at version 2, which means we already found 2 2 configurations that worked better than the previous one. That doesn't mean they are magically super smart now, it just means they managed to beat all of their previous versions. Let's give them some time now and we'll see what happens. Here we are, a couple of minutes later, a couple of versions later down the road, and as you can see, they already look a little smarter. The mutation always takes the currently best version as a starting point. This way the chance that it does something useful is a lot higher. Here you can see the mutation won the match as well as the rematch against version 5, so now it needs to play against version 4, and that's just to avoid these rock, paper, scissors scenarios where the current version can only beat the last version but not the previous ones. So the mutation will only become the next version if it manages to beat all of the previous versions. Now let's have a look at how the AI played after 50 hours of training, which by the way is only an estimate, I didn't measure the time. But definitely something like that, plus minus 10 hours. Now, as you will be able to see here, obviously version 54 plays this game a lot better. The matches are quite exciting, the only question is just, how does it perform against a human player? So I'm controlling the yellow ball here, the AI is controlling the red ball, and honestly it plays quite well. The overwhelming result is humanity wins. If you play a very predictable style, one the AI is used to playing against, then you have almost no chance. The AI is very good at a certain meta game. It captures the high ground and then it boosts whenever you boost. This way it always keeps the height advantage. You can absolutely counter that strategy, just in this match I didn't manage to pull it off. And yeah, as I've said, the AI plays quite well in a certain meta game. The only problem is when you do something unpredictable.
Oh no guys, I just found something really sad. I just wrote a very simple AI. It's just one line, it's just this line. Does nothing but move to the center, okay? So watch this. The one line AI that just moves to the center. The self-taught AI that has been training for about 3 days straight. Ah, jeez, let's see what happens. See, just moving to the center. Oh yeah, let me move to the center. What the hell is happening here? It is not very adaptable. It knows a very certain meta game and it's good in that meta game, but as soon as it's confronted with new unknown situations and strategies, it goes completely crazy.
So here once again the one-liner versus the self-taught AI, and once again the one-liner wins. The AI played really well earlier, so why is this happening now? Unfortunately, these neural networks are almost impossible to debug. I mean, you can look at the numbers, you can look at all of the connection weights, you can look at the activation values. The problem is just you don't understand at all what's going on. It looks like a bunch of random numbers. Just look at all of the flashing dots in the background here. Do you understand what's going on? Well, neither do I. But wait, it gets even better.
Okay, I only spent 1 hour on writing this. This is a very traditional AI, about this long. Not super complicated.
Okay, this time around the yellow one is the self-taught one and the orange one is the one I just wrote. The funny part is that they are a lot more evenly matched now. So the self-taught AI does better against this one than against the one-liner, which is kind of funny. Still, the AI I just wrote in 1 hour obtains the victory pretty much every single time. So did I manage to create an AI that plays this game significantly better than me? No, I did not. I failed. What went wrong? I have absolutely no idea. I can only make a couple of assumptions. Maybe I didn't have enough neurons. Maybe I didn't have enough training time. Maybe I used the wrong training algorithm. There's a lot that can go wrong and not a lot of ways to check what went wrong. I'd say one of the biggest bottlenecks for me is also just how fast I can run the simulation. At max speed I can simulate about 2 or 3 matches per second, which for a complex optimization problem like this is not enough. I think machine learning is just super fascinating, so if I ever make a part 2 I will definitely make sure to link it here. I would love to improve this AI even further, but for now I gotta get back to work on Will You Snail, the indie game I'm currently working on. This is Jonas and I document the entire journey to becoming a game developer. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.